Alright, hi everyone. Welcome back. So I'm trying some DBA again. I had a chance to play an online game, so I kind of had some of the rules explained to me a little bit better. So today the scenario is we've got our Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth fighting against some, well, they're supposed to be Teutonic knights. They've got the flag of Bavaria. But the actual Teutonic knight list doesn't have models, and honestly that's no fun. So they're going to be Teutonic knights, so the Germans are attacking. So they've got some pikemen. Okay, they've got some pikemen there. 3 groups of knights, some light cavalry, some like lighter cavalry. They've got some crossbowmen. That's supposed to be a hill. And then back at the camp, they've got their archers, which in these rules count as siloi, so they're kind of like javelins in ancient warfare, basically, is what the rules treat them as. Kind of silly, but anyway. Then they've got like a peasant militia horde, and they've kind of kept them hanging back at the camp. I think in my little imagined scenario here, the Germans think that the Poles are going to kind of fall over, so they don't really feel like they need to commit every force to the front line. Our Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, they have some crossbowmen of their own. They've got some light horse. They've got their knights, a war wagon, and then they have their own light cavalry. Okay, so since Germans are attacking, I believe they make the first move. So let's go ahead and they're going to roll for their pips. 3, okay. I think the Poles will also roll. Okay. Interesting thing about the 3 base widths. The interesting thing about the Poles is that how much mounted warfare really persisted in Poland and Lithuania. I mean, up until like even the early 18th century, and by that I mean where you have most of the forces are mounted. So there was infantry definitely, but it didn't quite take hold as much as it did in, when we think about, obviously, 7 Years' War, 18th century Western warfare, that sort of thing. Infantry, is a lot more important. Okay, so I think the pikes, they could go around the forest. I think they will do, that's kind of slow. They can move, let's see. Yeah, they can move 2 base widths. So I think they will do that. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is a legal, let's see, in rough going, which is forest, they can move 1. I don't think it's that much of a forest cross, so I think they'll just go ahead and move 1. Yeah, and then they'll just snap in behind the other rank, and then that'll use up their pips for the turn. Okay. Next, we're going to, yeah, so I think that's the first bound, and I don't think these guys have, I don't think these guys have, yeah, they don't have any shooting range on anyone, so nothing there. Alright, Polish move, let's see, Polish knights can move 3. So we'll move them 2, and then move forward singles. That'll be 3, and they can all move up because they have they're in a line. So that brings us down to 2 pips. Now these guys will have to split off a little bit because they're going to have to cut through some of the forest. So I think what we'll do is have these 3. Okay. Let's see if they move forward single. Alright, you know what, I mean, that's not really through the forest, so, I mean, there's like not that many trees on this, the way this terrain is modeled, so, but I am just going to do, so that line of 3, so they moved up 2, and then, I think if they move 1, okay, that's a little over 1, alright, so we just want to move up. Move forward. No, I don't want to move forward 2. So we just want to move up 1 more. No one gets into contact quite yet. Alright, there we go. Perfect, okay. And then these guys will all be snapped together. Okay, so that brings us down to our last pip. And I think war wagons cost 2. So I think we will go to the crossbow because they can move, let's see, they can move 2, so yeah, I think they'll just move up 2 and then that'll be all our moves. Yeah, no shooting range there. Okay. I don't really know. I was looking up before I was assembling this game. There were quite a few wars between the Teutonic Knights and Poland-Lithuania in the 15th century. And I had read a book before by a historian named Robert Frost. He's Scottish, I believe. He teaches at the University of St. Andrews. And he wrote a general history of Poland-Lithuania, but he's mostly interested in like the dynamics of the dual, basically the Polish constitution, we could say. You know, how the state was organized, because it was kind of unique among the other European nations at the time, because it was kind of an elective monarchy and a republic type of setup, which was kind of unique, of course. Okay, so our knights broke into contact with the Polish knights. So I think that means these guys have to snap into, to slide over. I think that's the rule. You have to like snap into. So is there a way I can just shift these over? It really is like real miniatures on this sometimes. Is that, are they lined up? Yeah, okay, there we go. Alright, so, and the poles get an overlap, I think. Okay, so that was 1 pip, so we're down to 5. Okay, the hill is rough, so these guys can only move 1, I think. So they'll just move 1 to the bottom of the hill. Oh yeah, there's the rulers. Those actually do help. Let's pick those up. Yeah, so they'll move there. So that was 2 pips each. So we're down to 3 points. And then I think, let's see, our cavalry can move 4. So I think they're going to, I think they're going to have to move, yeah, they're just going to have to move 1 up the hill. And that'll put our Teutonic Knights up to 1 pip. And I think they'll just... oh, I almost forgot about the pikemen, so... yeah, so they'll move... let's see, move forward half, and then half, so that'll be their move. Maybe they can make a flank attack, we'll see. Okay, now for the combat, we've got... okay, +1 versus foot, pursues 1 base width. Okay, so knights on mounted, so I think they're evenly matched. Let's see. Knights versus mounted, +4. Okay, so I think the Polish knights have both have the Polish and the German knights have the same bonus. Okay, so let's go ahead and roll. 2. Orange for the Polish. Okay, so 6 plus 4 is 10. 2 plus 4 is 6. So let's see what... okay, if the total is less than that of its opponent, but more than half, which it is, cavalry, no, but we're knights. Okay, so they recoil. So how far back do they recoil? I think it's 1 base width. Recoil mounted 1 base width. Okay, or own depth less than 1 base width. Okay, so let's move. Push forward. Recoil half. Recoil half. Recoil half. Recoil half. And then our knights, our Polish knights, are going to pursue. Yep, they're all going to pursue 1. And I think they may have got an overlap bonus from the... oh, you know what? I did that combat incorrectly because you have to fight each unit. Okay, so I'm going to do that over. So let's get them roughly where they were. Oh, actually, I can rewind it. Boy, this is a... Okay, alright, so I can rewind it and do this correctly now. Okay, so the Poles do get a... Yeah, each flank... So the Germans actually get a -1 to their bonus, so they're going to get +3 in this combat. So let's do that over. So we'll do this combat here. Let's go and roll that again. Okay, so 5 plus knights against mounted. Yeah, so 5 plus 3 is 8. Now the Polish knight's turn. And you get a cocked dice, okay. 3 plus 4 is 7, so I think that just means it's total is less than, but more than half. Otherwise, knights, okay, they recoil. Alright. Okay, so they're going to recoil. Recoil 1. Yeah, okay. Just did that. Now, I think, because I have to do this tabletop sim thing more, and our knights are going to, German knights are going to pursue 1. I think wargaming, miniature wargaming in real life, I think it's always going to have some edge over video gaming because, you know, video games are really big productions doing this combat here now. So I think, do the Germans get an overlap bonus? I'm going to say yes, because their flank is covered. Or the Poles get a penalty, I guess is a better way to put it. Okay, so that's a 6. And a 10. So I think that's just another recoil. Yeah, recoil 1. And Germans pursue 1. You know, video games are really expensive to produce, and you know, there's a lot of games that especially for historical games, that are just never going to get made for various reasons. Okay, so the Germans get a 6. Okay, so it's actually a tie, I think, because the Poles get a -1 because they're overlapped. So yeah, so it's 6 on 6. So if they're tied, otherwise no effect. Four knights recoiled by 3 knights. Otherwise, no effect. Okay. So I think what that's saying is these guys are recoiled, actually, because they are outnumbered. Okay. No doubt someone will give me the correct ruling at some point. So that's why I think tabletop games are always going to have an advantage over video gaming. Okay, alright, next turn, let's go and roll for the Polish pips, so 3. I guess I'll go and roll for the Germans too, so you only get 2. Alright, okay, the Poles, so what are they going to do next? So, I don't know if the War Wagon's going to even do much. I kind of didn't deploy that very well. See, these guys can move 4, so I think they will do that. Okay, and then they can move. Okay, so that brings them up to 4, so we're down to 2 points. And there's another thing I've been thinking about a lot with all this, especially with this Games Workshop stuff and wargaming and like role-playing games. It's sort of the way a lot of these hobby games have lost their frame of reference. Like a lot of people now that are into current. So I think these guys are going to move into contact. So I think. Let's see. So they're here roughly. So let's they're not like a lot of these role-playing games now. It's like the people that play them, a lot of them are not interested in replicating something. They're interested more in the idea of the role-playing game. And I think some of these more mainstream war games are kind of getting to that point as well. You have, it's like it's not really about replicating a okay, that's a little over their movement, but yeah, okay, that we're just gonna say they wield and yeah, okay. It's like it's not really about trying to play a role or tell a story. It's just about the idea of playing the game. Which is why I kind of get annoyed when people say, oh, it's just about pushing miniatures. It's like, maybe that's for you, that's fine, but for me, I like this because it's about history, or it's about, if it's like Warhammer, ideally it's about kind of a narrative story, and, if you just want to push miniatures around, I mean, that's okay, but that's not why I do this hobby, personally. It's, for things like this, so I can learn about all these Polish, German, Teutonic wars in the 15th century that I didn't really know that much about. Okay, so let's do our combats now. So we'll start here. So our Germans are overlapped again. Okay, 5, so that's a 9. That's an 8. So I think our less than but more than half knights are recoiled, so we're going to recoil 1. Wait, did I do that correctly? 7. Yeah, same effect, okay, because they do get a -1. So they're going to recoil 1. Wait a second, I think I can have them. Yeah, there we go. Recoil half, and they're going to advance half, advance half. Okay, this combat here. 1, ugh. Okay. So that's a 10 against a 5, so that's a double. Let's see. Destroyed of defenders, city, fort, or camp. If not, destroyed. Okay. Alright, so that's our first casualty of the game. And so they're going to advance 1. Okay, so now this combat here, these guys are... Okay, so I think they both get a -1 if I'm understanding the rules correctly, because their flank is covered here and their flank is covered. So they both take a -1. So basically it's canceled out. Alright. It's a 6 plus, well, 5, so that's a 9. A 9 against a 5. If the total is half or less than, well, half of 9 is 4.5, right? Yeah. Okay, so I think those knights are destroyed. Okay, so the Germans lose a unit of knights. Okay, and then they're going to advance up. Kind of a weird traffic pattern. Alright, so that's the Polish turn. Alright, the Germans are, I think I already rolled their pips, so they get 2. So I think what they'll do, okay, they'll move at least one of these crossbowmen. So they're still on the hill, so I think they only get 1. So they're going to move. They're going to move 1. And then that puts them down to 1 point. And I think this group of knights is going to try and punch through. So you can move 3 base widths. I think they're going to try and just crash through and make contact with these crossbowmen. And then these crossbowmen have to file in to respond, basically. Okay, so this is quite an interesting game. Okay, so that's both of the German pips. So now we'll do combat. So over here, our knights. So 4 plus 4 is 8 against a 6. So, okay, so another recoil result. And Germans advance and pursue. Okay, sorry about the dead air there for a second. Yeah, okay, now our combat over here, we've got knights versus foot, so they get, but these are, let's see, what do they count as? Okay, it's crossbow, alright. Bows, they are, what do they count as? Solid crossbows. Okay, solid crossbows, I guess it's bows, solid. +4, okay, so that's pretty helpful. And they've got, and the knights take a -1 because they're overlapped, so let's go ahead and roll for Teutonic Knights. Okay, so that's 5 against a 6. So, less than, but more than half. Knights just recoil 1. Okay, let's check how we're doing on time here. Alright, yeah, that's just 30 minutes if you're still with me. Thank you. This is quite an interesting game so far. I think I'm starting to get the hang of the rules a little bit better. Alright, so that's all of our combats, so now we can go to the polls. In terms of casualties, we're still tied, so... woof, 1, okay. Yeah, so I think what I'll do is the... Let's see, they can't quite turn around so easily. Alright, what I think I will do is have the... these guys are just going to move into contact there. And then that'll be the 1 pip, and then we can shoot, because they're stationary, so I think that, okay, that's in their range, so let's take a look at distance combat. At half base width, target directly within 1 base width of shooting edge. Okay. Okay, so we'll go ahead and roll for this firing move, so it's a +4. It's a 5, okay. So I don't think anything happens. They just defend against it, and that's it. Okay, and then we'll do our combat here. So we've got cavalry against knights. This may be not a great move for the Poles. So we get a +3. So it's a 6, and then against the knights, I think they get a -1 because they are, yeah, flank is contacted, so they're also get a -1. So they got a 7. Okay, so these guys just recoil 1. Now, I'm not sure how the advancing works since they're contacted on the flank. I think they, when you're contacted like that, you turn to face anyway. So, yeah, I think they just pursue like that. Okay, this is getting pretty choppy. Alright, Germans. 2. Okay. These pikes haven't really done much. Oh, there was a combat over here, or did we do that? No, I don't think we resolved that, so let's do that real quick. So 4 on 4, basically, +4 on. So it's a 9 and a 9, so it's a tie, so I think that's just a tie. Okay, so nothing happened anyway. Alright. Germans have 2 pips now. I think they're going to want to move these guys up, so that they're only going to be able to move 1. So that's a pip, and then I think, let's see, these guys in rough going can only move 1, so I think that's, they're going to want to get more, Germans are going to want to get more reinforcements up into the fighting front. Okay. I am pretty interested in researching Polish-Lithuanian more, but like with a lot of these things, it's just the languages you have to know. It's just crazy sometimes. Okay, let's resolve some of these combats. So let's go over here. It's a 9. Okay, 9 against a 5. Is half or less than. I guess that's more than half, because half of 9 is 4.5. Alright. Yeah, so just another recoil. Yeah, it's just these languages you gotta know, because a lot of this stuff, it's really not in English. Like to study a lot of this medieval and early modern history, and the other thing too is a lot of stuff is on the internet, of course, but you know, not everything's on the internet either. You know, a lot of these stuff, it's like there's like articles or stuff that are written, things like that are written, and you know, it's just, you know, it's put in a published in a volume or something, and then that book is printed for like libraries. There's like a few thousand copies, and then that's it. And it's not online. Some of these things that I have to do to get articles for my like real life work. It's like this Crimean Tatars article I had to find once. I mean, I had to ask like a friend of mine to give me like to ask another person to get me like an interlibrary loan to make photocopies of it, which was the basis of the video I have on the channel about the Crimean Tatar military. Okay, our combat here. 10. Wow, okay, a tie, so they're just locked in combat. Yeah, and I think that's all of our combats. Okay, let's do the Polish pips. That's 3. And maybe the war wagon, but it costs 2 to move it up, so okay, so we got 3 pips. So I think sliding costs 1 pip, and they can do it 1 base width. So I think what I will do, let's see, because if you're, okay, for each flank or rear edge overlapped or contacted, so I think what I'll do is I'll use 1 pip to slide here. Yeah, and then that'll give them a additional -1, which I think I forgot to add. And then, so that puts us to 2 points. Okay, so I think they can move 1 and shoot. Okay, that's, yeah, alright, close enough. Okay, so I think that's within their range there. Okay, so now we can do distance combat. So I'm going to roll. So the war wagon gets, let's see, versus mounted. +4. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so what's their combat factor? Knights. Knights versus foot get a +3. Is that the general? Is that the German general they're shooting at? Yes, it is actually. General's element in close combat or shot at gives them a +1, so I forgot to factor that in some of these other combats. Okay, so they get a +1 actually because it's the general. So it's a +4 after all. So it's a 6 against a 5. Okay, so it's just no effect, I think. Alright. Okay, so now we can resolve these other combats. So -2 for the Germans. So it's a 5. 5 against an 8. So I think it's another recoil. And they pursue. Then this combat here. So it's a 10 against ten against an 8. So that's another recoil. And pursue. Let's check how we're doing on time here. 47, going for a while. Alright. So let's go ahead and roll. That was the Polish turn. So let's go ahead and roll for Germans. Once again, only 2 pips. Okay. How do they want to use them? Okay, I think they'll just move. Let's see. Okay, these guys aren't encumbered anymore, so I think they can move 2 base widths. So yeah, so that'll be 1 pip, and then that'll be another pip, and then we can continue with combat. So let's go over here. So they take a -2 again because they're still overlapped. So it's a 5 against an 8. Recoil. And pursue. Okay. And then we've got this combat over here, so 5 against 4 is 9. Okay, that was a very good roll. Okay, so tied again, somehow. The combats to resolve. No, I believe that's it. Okay. Polish turn. 5 pips. Okay, we've got a little bit more room to work with here for the okay, so I think okay, these guys are going to, let's rotate them. They're going to wheel, and they can move 4 base widths. Wheel group. So they're going to wheel left. No, they want to wheel the other way. Oh no, maybe they do want a wheel left. Okay, wheel left. Okay, that's gonna crash into their base, so okay, so that'll be hang on a second. Okay, these guys can move. We got 5 pips, so these guys can move 3, so they will move 3. And then I think we can wheel them. So I think it'll cost like all of their movement to wheel. Yeah, okay, it'll basically cost all their movement to wheel that way. That's fine. So that's another pip. So down to 3. And then these are light horse, so they can move 4, so let's move them like that. I think that's their full movement that it shows in yellow or red. So that now we're down to 2. I think that'll stay stationary. And then these guys will move. Let's see, they can move 2 base widths. So I think they'll just move 1 as a group. So they can still fire, but I don't think they can fire through anything. Can they hit? No, they can't really hit those knights. Okay, but shooting the war wagon can definitely fire, so they get a +4. That's an 8. You know, is the war wagon mounted or on foot? Because it kind of seems like both. I think. Okay, they get +4. Check this actually. Let's see, DBA. My computer appears to be a bit slow. Let's see about this. All shooting and range rules. Okay, this helps. Oh, elements in a close combat or providing rear support cannot be a target. Oh, okay, so... Alright, so that's not allowed, actually, because they're locked into combat. Alright, so I was incorrect about that. Okay, well, and in any case, let's just continue with the combat here. So they are flanks, it's a -1, so let's do this here. So +4, 5, and that's an 8. So I think that's just another recoil result. So I think they kind of clipped through that unit. Okay. And they pursue. And then we'll do this combat here. So it's just +4 against +4. Okay, maybe we can actually have a decisive result. No. Okay, so it's a 9 against an 8. So recoil 1. And pursue 1. And then I think that's all the moves, so I think we're back to the Germans. Okay, 6. Alright, maybe they can actually make something happen this turn. Okay, so these pikemen, I think, still want to move, so they're going to move 1. They're creeping through the forest. And then puts them down to 4, so another 1. Close enough. So we're down to 4 points. I think, man, this has kind of been a strange game. Okay, well, 4 points, so they're going to move 1. So that'll put us down to 3 points. And that'll make them clear the hill, more or less. And so that's 2 points. And yeah, I think these guys will just go ahead and move 2. Let's put them into rough ground. Actually, I think they'll just move 1. Okay, now under our combats. So over here, +4, 6 against an 8. Okay, now I think this will actually destroy the general because, oh wait, I think he gets a bonus. General's element, yeah, okay, so that's actually a +5, but they still lose. I think if they have to recoil through, an enemy, recoils through any friends, choose one base width or own depth if less than one base width. Okay, but I think they're destroyed because they would have to recoil through the yeah, I think they're destroyed because they would have to recoil through those troops. So okay, and then I think I'm going to wrap this one up after this turn because the general's been killed, or his element's been destroyed. In reality, I'm sure he'd be ransomed, as was often the case in these times. Let's go ahead and resolve this combat here. So Germans get a -1. So that's a 6. Against an 8. So another recoil. And pursue. Alright, yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. General's been killed. And video's been going a little long anyway. And our Polish knights are almost breaking through to the camp. So, if you're still with me, I hope you liked it. I wish I could make real gaming videos, but this is the best I can do. And I will talk to you all in the next video.